So Avengers Secret Wars is currently set to come out December 17th, 2027. Now, that's actually not too far away. It's only like a little over a year away. It's like it's a little under 2 years. It's around like a year and like 10 months. But yeah, it's coming out December 17th of next year. And with that, we've recently been getting some rumors that Avengers Secret Wars could be split into two separate movies. Now, you might also realize that this is not the setup that I usually film at, and that is because I am currently in Nashville, Tennessee. Now, I was here for a concert that was supposed to happen yesterday, but that shit got rescheduled because of the snow, because as you guys know, people in Nashville aren't really that used to snow, so they get a couple inches of snow, whole city gets shut down. So it's like, damn, I came all this way for a concert and that shit gets rescheduled to March. And it's like, great, now I'm just here. And I was supposed to leave I was supposed to leave tomorrow, but my flight got rescheduled to Tuesday because of the snow. So it's like, great, now I'm here for like an extra 3 days. But yeah, I figured while I'm here and go ahead and talk about this rumor that Avengers Secret Wars is going to be split into two separate parts. And usually what I would do is I would read an article about the topic that I'm talking about, and then I would go ahead and dive into my thoughts. But because I don't have my computer with me, I'm just gonna go ahead and dive into my thoughts. So let's go ahead and dive into that right now. And yeah, because like I said, there's been rumors going around today that Secret Wars could be split into two parts. Now, a lot of people I've seen on Twitter have been kind of like confused by this, because I've seen like comments and stuff basically talking about how would that work, because Secret Wars, as we know, is set to begin filming sometime this year. I don't really know when this year. I think it's going to be like probably around the second half of 2026, or maybe like around May or something like that. It's probably when they're going to start filming Secret Wars. I'm pretty sure Doomsday started filming in April of 2025, so if they follow that same like pattern, Secret Wars will probably begin filming, like I said, around May, maybe April of 2026, but definitely this year is when Secret Wars is set to begin filming. And people are like, how is Secret Wars gonna be split into two parts if they are going to be filming the movie in 2026? Because also what the rumor says is that Marvel will decide if they want to split Secret Wars into two parts based on the success of Doomsday. Like if Avengers Doomsday does well or not, then Marvel will be like, all right, so we can either keep Secret Wars as one movie or we can split it into two movies. And people are like, how's that going to work? Secret Wars is already going to be filmed by the time that Doomsday comes out, because as we know, Doomsday is set to come out December 18th, 2026, which is, this year. So people are like, how is that going to work? And I figured I would sit here and talk about how that is going to work, because as we all know, movies have always done this. Every single movie usually does this, where they have a bunch of stuff that doesn't make it into the final movie. Like, for example, take the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, the very first Five Nights at Freddy's movie. That movie had like 3 hours of footage that they filmed, or like, not 3 hours of footage that they filmed, but like the movie had like 3 hours of like, runtime before Blumhouse decided to like chop out most of the movie, and it ended up being around like an hour and 50 minutes. But as we know, there was like over 2 hours of like deleted stuff that there's like 2 hours of deleted stuff that didn't make it into the final movie. So as we know, movies have always had deleted scenes, regardless of what the film is. Like, I'm pretty sure every movie has deleted scenes. Like, there's no movie where, like, there's no deleted scenes. Like, every movie has deleted scenes in it. So, I feel like even Doomsday's probably going to have stuff that they filmed that doesn't make it into the final cut. So, with Secret Wars, I'm sure they're probably going to film a bunch of, like, content and things like that, and it's probably going to end up being maybe around 4 to 5 hours worth of footage that they filmed. So that is how they can decide whether or not to keep it as one movie and just chop out like a whole lot of stuff, or take probably what I think is the better route and have it where it's split into two different movies. Because like I've been saying, Secret Wars is probably going to be like one of the craziest Marvel movies that we've ever seen. I think it definitely has the potential to be better than Infinity War. And I don't really think Doomsday will be better than Infinity War. That, I think, will probably be at least a pretty good movie. It will probably be a pretty good movie, but I don't think it will be better than Infinity War, because Infinity War is like my favorite Marvel movie of like all time. Like Infinity War was like peak Marvel for me, so I don't think Doomsday is gonna surpass that. But Secret Wars definitely has the potential to be better than Infinity War, unless if they decide to keep it as one movie. If they keep it as one movie, then it probably won't be, because also what we've been hearing is that Doomsday could run around 3 hours long. And if that's the case, then who the hell knows how long Secret Wars would be if they decide to keep that as one movie, because like I said, Secret Wars is probably gonna be a crazy movie, so I don't really know how long they would make that movie, because if they make Secret Wars, or if they make Doomsday 3 hours long, then it's like, well, how long do you make Secret Wars then? Like, do you have to make Secret Wars longer than Doomsday? You know what I'm saying? Or would they keep it around the same length as Doomsday? Which is why I said it would probably be easier to go two different movies. That way you can have two movies around like 2 hours and like 20 minutes long or something like that, right? Because Doomsday, I don't think you need to split Doomsday into two movies. That movie can be one movie, and it could be like maybe around 2 hours and 40 minutes long. Because also, what I don't really like when movies do this is when they try to make a movie a certain length. I've talked about this before. I feel like when you try to make a movie, like say 3 hours long or something like that, like when you try to make a movie a certain amount of length, it feels kind of unnecessary in my opinion, because then it's like you have a bunch of stuff in the movie that doesn't really feel like it needs to be there. But they kept it in there because they wanted the movie to be a certain length, you know what I'm saying? Like take Oppenheimer, for example. That's not to say that Oppenheimer is a bad movie, to say the least, because I had a pretty good time with Oppenheimer. I saw that movie back in 2023 when it came out. I had a pretty good time with that movie. But one of my main problems with it was the fact that Christopher Nolan openly came out and said that he tried to make the movie, or that he wanted the movie to be 3 hours long. And the movie was literally like 3 hours and I think like a couple minutes. Oh God, Jesus. I think it was like around 3 hours and like 1 minute or something like that. And, you know, the first like 2 acts of the movie I think are really solid. Like, I think they're great. The way it like builds the suspense of like, you know, the bomb going off and things like that, I thought was pretty dang good. And then obviously you have the scene in the second act where the bomb goes off. But then you have the third act of the movie, which is literally just like the conference, right, of like, you know, Oppenheimer and Robert Downey Jr.'s character's name I don't remember, but you had like the conference between, or like the whole like battle going on between the two of them and things like that, right? And it just kind of dragged on for a really long time. And I was like kind of getting to a point where I was kind of just sitting there like, does this movie even have an ending? Because I feel like I've been sitting in this theater for a long ass time since that bomb went off and the movie's still going on, right? But that was like my only critique with the movie, is that it felt like it was way too long. I feel like it would have easily worked if it was maybe only like 2.5 hours long or something like that. But because of the fact that they tried to make it 3 hours long, it felt just kind of unnecessary in my opinion. So yeah, that is why with Secret Wars, I wouldn't want them to keep it as one movie, because if it was only one movie, it would probably be like over 3 hours. It would probably be like 3 hours and 20 minutes. And that is an unnecessary amount of time to be spending in a theater. So yeah, I feel like the smarter way to go about this would be to split movies, or split Secret Wars into two separate movies. That way you can have two movies and you can have them around like 2 hours and 20 minutes or something like that. That way, you know, you can tell the complete story that you want to tell. You don't have to cut out like 2 hours worth of footage, and you just have the best story. Because I feel like if it was also as only one movie, then there would be a lot of footage that they would cut out, and then it would just kind of feel like a little bit rushed in my opinion. But yeah, that's what I have to say about Secret Wars, because I know people are kind of confused that, you know, Doomsday would come out and then Marvel would decide if they want to split the movies. So they would be like, how would they do that if Doomsday's or Secret Wars has already been filmed? And that is how, because most movies, they usually have a bunch of stuff that doesn't make it into the final cut. So that is what they would do. They would have a bunch of footage that they would film, and then they would obviously edit in things like that. And then once Doomsday releases, they can decide, all right, so we can either keep it as one movie or we can split it into two movies. And that is how they would decide how to do that. So yeah, and I think that would be the smarter route to go, is split it into 2 movies. But you guys can let me know what you think about that. But I think that's going to wrap it up for this video. We are only 40 subscribers away from 700. We are at 660. So if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you subscribe. I want to hit 700 subscribers this year, because that would be pretty cool. We hit 600 subscribers in 2025. We hit 500 subscribers in 2024. So, you know, it's like we can go up 100 subscribers every couple of years. I think that would be pretty cool. So it's like 2025, 400 subscribers, or 500 subscribers. Oh no, 2024 is 500 subscribers, 2025 is 600 subscribers, and then 2026 could be 700 subscribers. So I think that would be pretty nice. But yeah, that's going to wrap it up for this video. You guys can let me know if you think Secret Wars should be only 1 movie, or if it should be 2 movies. Like I said, I think it should be 2 movies. And I'm very much looking forward to Doomsday and Secret Wars. The 4 teasers that we got for Doomsday were pretty dang solid, and I'm very much looking forward to Doomsday. And Secret Wars is probably going to be like one of the most insane movies, so I'm very much looking forward to that. And after that, that is basically the end of the multiverse saga, because that is like, there's no other movies coming out like that are announced after Secret Wars, and there's not really any movies coming out like before Doomsday. Well, I mean, I guess there's Spider-Man Brand New Day, but like that is it. Like after Spider-Man Brand New Day, there's just Doomsday and then Secret Wars. Obviously, we're still probably gonna have some, like, you know, TV shows here and there. Like obviously Wonder Man's coming out in the next couple days, which I'll probably make a review of once I see the show, because I'm definitely going to watch it. The fact that I had a 94% on Rotten Tomatoes was kind of crazy, I'm not going to lie. But yeah, you can probably expect a review of Wonder Man probably around the 28th or 29th of January. But yeah, that is going to wrap it up for this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.